pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ray, you well, actually, I'd take a second to introduce Ray Mayhart.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the new Matt, deputy clerk of the legislature.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yes.
You still are with me, Jim?
Yeah.
Hey, perfect. Welcome. Okay. First item up, we haven't had a chance to review the minutes. Good. First move by Legislator Twist. Second by Legislator Yurgen. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Minutes passed. First item up, Resolution IT-1, resolution establishing capital project number 0723, the airport HVA replacement system. Discussion, Legislator Holson. Second by Legislator Lockwood. Anything you want to say, Brandon?
Yeah, so it's a very old furnace. It's actually for the diner. We do not have anyone in the diner right now, but we still have a lot of water lines running through there. The air conditioning, the charge of whatever Freon that is in there is no longer available, so we can't recharge the AC. The unit itself is pretty rotten out, so it's in full need replacement. We got 3 quotes, $10,000 for the quotes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Carries. Okay, IT2, resolution to transfer authorization for sales of scrap and excess materials to highway expense. I believe this was from the, Kelly, I believe this was from the scrap metal.
Yes.
That's how you guys cleaned up. Yep. Okay, looking to transfer that.
Move it.
First by Legislator Martino.
Second.
Second by Legislator Twist. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Carries. IT3. Resolution establishing capital project 1023, Oswego garage vehicle lists. Discussion first by Legislator Holtz. Second by Legislator Yurgen. As you're all aware from reading this, our lists were inspected. They were in pretty rough shape and did not pass inspection, correct?
No, they're over 30 years old. They're ready to take out right now.
Understand. So everyone has all the information. Okay, need to replace them. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Okay, next up, resolution authorizing expenditure from capital reserve number 146, highway and equipment. This, I believe, is a B&G grants down on the highway. We got this book to move for discussion. First by Legislator Holtz, second by Legislator Martino. Anything you want to say?
No, this is to replace the 2008 van that we've had at the Public Safety Center for a long time. It has 90,000 miles on it, and I don't think it's going to pass inspection this year. So we'd like to take a vehicle from our shop, move it up there, and use the newer one in the shop.
Yeah. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Thank you. IT5. Resolution increasing authorization of capital project C0123, the asbestos remediation. Discussion. First by Legislator Martino, second by Legislator Yurgen. I know what I've written here is the cost increase, is that correct?
Yeah, this is for the other house out beside DSS. I originally thought it was going back to the land bank, or they were going to sell it or put it back on the county taxes, but since then I've learned otherwise. So this is just put more money in that account to get it checked out and possibly get the house removed.
That back if they end up going to the land bank, we can always bring it back. But, Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Carries. IT 6, resolution authorizing budget modification, central services, supplemental project for the update of the county video surveillance system. With that, discussion. First by legislator Twist, second by legislator Lockwood. What do you want to say on that, Greg?
It's really to take care of a couple of things. There were 70 cameras in the original scope that we were going to get some more life out of. They were still serviceable, so as those fail, we're looking to replace those. It's a step getting some funds out there for that. Also, the contingency funds I had built in the original project was used up. A good portion of that is to add cameras where our architecting of the solution we found. For example, we're using 6 cameras in the jail for better coverage to meet the needs of corrections. So for some more contingency funds for the phase 1 project.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. And it is 97. There we go. Resolution awarding professional services contract lower apron repairs at the Energy Recovery Facility.
Move it.
Move that. First by legislator Martino, second by legislator Holt. Anything you want to say?
This is for the back deck. We have heavy truck traffic. We bring the ash up from the bottom. Water trucks out, get dirty water out, in general traffic. In the past few engineering reports, we've noted some degradation. The deck's almost 40 years old, so as being able to put this together to come up with the specs, the drawings, assess the needed repairs, help me get it out for quote, assess the quotes, and then basically GC the job once the quotes come back and I'll award it. That's what this entails. I'm hoping we're not too late in the year to get some of it or all of it done. If not, we'll drag in spring, but that's.
I know a lot of people don't realize that apron's on concrete walls.
It's like a bridge basically. It's 20 foot up off the ground. So yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Question?
I don't know, you weren't there then, but 2013, 15, somewhere in there, didn't we do some type of,
That was Hannibal.
was that Hannibal?
That was the Hannibal
For some reason I
transfer
thought there was,
station.
or I thought we did some type of repair. I didn't know if it was abandoned at the time
I
or
think
what.
they did painting a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that's well before me, but I did hear something about paint, which that'll be a whole other topic, getting the steel work painted.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, at the Hannibal transfer station, they had a similar issue with the flooring, and I think that's what you might be thinking of. Yeah, pigs.
I remember that.
I know.
Like,
Yeah, well,
for a reason.
yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Okay.
Is that the one that the stuff didn't stick right or something? Okay.
Yep.
I know of it, I didn't have it. But.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Okay, that's a bid review and decisions. Bid 23-005, the lighting contract. Let's see, LED. Do you want to say something on that?
I know Joe put that out to bid. He had multiple bidders. One was very low. We did some legwork and they just were not reputable, so that's why they were removed. We went with Randy. Randy does have a reputable firm, so I'm confident with that. And also we do have a meeting with National Grid next week to talk about some sort of a rebate. We don't know if Randy's involved in any rebate programs. If we can get any, that's what we're going to meet about and discuss.
Okay, so we're looking to award the bid to the second bidder, which would be Napa Electric, $144,000. Okay, with that. First by legislator Martino, second by legislator Wood. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries. Okay. Next item up is a set salary for the solid waste program coordinator, and this is setting a salary of $37,000. That's in the middle range.
Yeah, this is an internal promotion. We're bringing a guy in from the last guy transferred, Dan Edwards, who has some good experience, computers and some other things, being able to, he's familiar with the PC scales, very familiar with our systems. So when I moved Jeremiah from that position to the operations manager, this is backfilling Jeremiah's job. And now I will have to backfill that position in the transfer.
Motion to approve that. First by legislator Martino, second by legislator Lockwood. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Okay. Next item up is to increase certain fees and rentals at the airport.
So I'd like to, we have 50 T hangars, half of which are still at $225 per month. I'd like to bump that up to $250 a month effective January 1st, so I can give all the tenants notice. It'll bring us in line with a lot of other airports. There's a lot of them that are $225, some are $250. Depending on the locations of the airport, some are $280. But I think with all the rising costs we're seeing with everything, it's bumping them up to $250, and that'll make all 50 T hangars $250 across the board. So I ask that we make that $250 effective January 1st. And also, we have two different land leases at the airport, private hangars. They have to lease the property from the airport, from the county. There's a commercial and a private lease, both of which are 30 cents a square foot right now. I'd like to bump the commercial up to 35 cents a square foot. With all the added amenities that come with that lease agreement, I think it should be a little bit more than the private lease. So I asked that $250 for all the T hangars effective January 1st, and 35 cents a square foot for the commercial aviation license.
Okay. Motion to move. First by legislator Martino, second by legislator Holst. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Thank you. And next, that would be the cell phone request. Speak on that.
Couldn't hear you.
Oh, so I want to speak on that, your request for the...
For the assistant public defender? Yes, I have a,
Cell phone.
yeah, salary request, yes, I have a cell phone.
No, cell phone.
Oh, cell phone request, no, I haven't, okay, yes. We need it for emergency calls with clients and with the court. And then we need enough, our investigator will need one permanently when he goes out to investigate people, so he's not giving out his private information. And that's part of the request of the police.
Okay. Is there a motion to move it? First by legislator Twist, second by legislator Holst. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. And next up is the firefighter. We only have one. Yeah. We've had that. Okay. Town of Meadow. $399,000 is getting paid. You want to say something on that?
Yeah, so this, Mr. Chairman, is the only request that we had from the town of Minetto. It's to help them fund some major improvements they need to do at their wastewater treatment plant. As you know, wastewater has been one of the infrastructure priorities that this body adopted last year by resolution, and this is part of a $5.2 million project. They're asking for just under $400,000 to help specifically with a project that's involving the pumps, replacing pumps and the piping related to them.
Your motion to move it. First by legislator Twist, second by legislator Yearden. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Now, before we get into the reporting departments, yeah, set salary. Did that.
You set the salary for cell phones.
Yeah.
You don't,
We
that's
don't-
how
we don't
public
sense
private
that.
FP does.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
right after
FP.
this, so I got fair enough.
You know, everybody showed up for an FP meeting, we decided to have an infrastructure meeting.
Yes, there you go.
Before we get to just reporting the departments, I wanted to cover, I know there was some discussion on whether or not we had a capital project established for the blacktop plant or something there. But I know I spoke with, because we had to straighten out some confusion was for the electrical portion of that bid. And I spoke with Holly, and we have to, she is going to send it out with the specs provided, standstill.
Okay, but we don't need a capital project before that. We allow the bids to agree to
Understood. So we have to put, we have to do a motion, send that out to bid, correct?
Well, you can if you want, you know, you don't only have to, if there's a decision made, you want to do that.
I didn't know if we needed to do something here, just trying to speed up the process.
You don't have to, you can just inform the committee, we're going out to bid for the electrical portion.
We're going out to bid for the electrical portion. There.
Okay.
We're
What the committee's got to approve is
yeah, very good. Wasn't sure if we had to do that before. Okay.
some money, guys.
Right. Well, there was some confusion on how the bid was done, so now we have to, yeah, they had to resend it out. So. Yep, so, okay, on to reporting departments. First up, B&G, Rick.
B&G, we have Danforth Companies here today. They did an energy audit for some of our buildings, and they'd like to speak with the committee about it. So, Gene, you want to take it away?
Thank you. I had 15 of these. I handed them out. I don't know if everybody needs one. Got one. All right. So I'm Eugene Lobauer. I'm an energy executive with John W. Danforth Company based in Syracuse. Scott Jansen's with me. He's our general manager of our energy group. Very briefly, Danforth's been in business in upstate New York for 139 years. Started in Buffalo. Headquarters is still in Buffalo. We have offices all over the state. We are a design-build firm. That means we design mechanical, plumbing, and energy projects. And then we have 750 union employees, men and women out in the field, hard hats, that actually do the installation. That's part of why we bring big value to our customers, because we own it, we design it, we build it, we take complete ownership of the project. We're by far the biggest company of our type in New York State. We are an energy services company in ESCO, which is this part of it. This is an energy performance contract benchmarking report. So I'd say we don't know yet if you need a project or if you want a project. So our engineers spent some months putting this together. We got from the county your utility bills, 87 accounts. I'll get more into detail that as we go through that. But this is just an idea of what a project might look like here. So we know that we're spending more of our time and money moving ahead to give you more information, and is it worth your time? Do you care if you want us to move ahead and give you more information? So depending on how you feel at the end of this, if you generally speaking like what you see and you might want to learn more, we'd like to meet with your administrator, your financial people, Rick, learn more about the financial aspects that the county might need. Because even though it's infrastructure work, a big part of it's financial. That's what makes these things work. I'll get into more details as we get into it. So table of contents. It also typically takes an hour to do this, and I try to do it in like 15 minutes. So if you have questions, let me know.
That's a good approach to do that.
Understood. All right, so so executive summary, I'll spend quite a bit of time on that because I am going to summarize this report. Historical energy usage, we'll talk a bit about the energy that we currently use. Energy use intensity is when we really get into the benchmark. Energy use intensity is energy use per square foot of the building space. And then I'll talk pretty briefly about the expected project size and measures to be investigated. We'll talk about next steps. All right. So on page 3 is the executive summary. This is a benchmark report. I'll say a 50,000 high foot view of what a project potentially could look like here. Again, this isn't a proposal. It's just an idea of what a project could look like. And again, if we move ahead and we meet with the administration, we talk more about finances and what the project could look like. We will come back on our own dime and we'll send in estimators and our engineers. We have energy engineers, mechanical engineers, field people, and subcontractors to go through your buildings and build on paper what a project potentially really could look like. We'll show you the financials, the cash flow, the scope items that actually be in there, and then you'll have a real good sense of what a project would look like. And if you want to move ahead, we go to RFP, hire people like us through New York Power Authority where we have contracts, or just move ahead. But we want you to be on board at this point. We think you have a great project, and if you folks think so too, you might want to do it. That's great. We're happy to do more work, but we don't want to waste our time and money and have a bunch of people doing a whole bunch of work if you folks aren't actually interested in it. Okay, so we'll talk about that at the end. So this first chart here shows what you're currently using. You have 87 utility accounts. That's electricity, gas, and propane. We looked at 9 buildings. We looked at your biggest buildings and then the DPW buildings. And just to get an idea of what things could look like here. If you move ahead, then you can get in deeper. And of course, if you actually did a project, Energy Services Company would look at all of your buildings. So potentially this project could grow. So right now, on the left, you see what you currently spend. $630,000 is the total there. And then the chart to the right is what we believe you can get down to, at least in these 9 buildings. That'd be $456,000 a year in energy saving and cost, which is a savings of $173,000 per year in utility costs. So it's about 25 to 30% savings we think that you can have here countywide. And if that was looked at over a 20-year period, it would pay for itself. In 20 years, it would be about a $3.6 to $4.2 million project, like what we're looking at right here. So getting into the next piece of what is an energy performance contract, it mentions here New York State Energy Law, Article 9. That was legislation enabled in the 90s. New York State realized they had a lot of buildings that were really old and falling apart in their energy hubs. They didn't have the money. Municipalities, schools, hospitals upgrade the buildings. And they said, if we upgrade these buildings and save energy, we can use those energy savings over time to pay for the project. So it's money that's already in the operational budget. You don't have to go to the taxpayer. You don't have to go to your capital reserves. You don't have to go to anywhere else. The money's already money that you're spending in your utility budget. So instead of spending a big amount with your utility company, you reduce that down, you use those savings, it pays for the upgrades. Energy Services Company guarantee those upgrades. We can look at it every year. We can go back and we can verify that we're saving what we promised we was going to save. It's performance-based. That last paragraph there at the beginning is turnkey. We design it, we build it. We own all responsibility. We don't have finger pointing. We don't blame anybody. It's our project to make sure that you're happy with it at the end. It's self-funded. The whole point is you get facilities upgrades through a guaranteed savings program. Savings pays for the project. That's why it's so important for us to get a sense of your financial needs here. All right, on to the next one. Page 4. We don't have to get a lot into this. We looked at your 87 accounts. We only looked at these buildings as far as this analysis. There's some notes down there in red, some information we didn't have. If we moved ahead, we would get more into detail, and that can clear things up. You can see your total cost of these buildings in the bottom row, the bottom right corner of the yellow. $630,000 is what you currently spend in these buildings. All right, and then the next page, page 5, shows where your energy use comes from and where your energy dollars go to. The top chart, we'll look just at the orange. You can see the electricity. It's 41% of your energy consumption. And then the lower chart, you can see in the orange, 71% of your energy dollars go to electricity. So 41% of your energy comes from electric, 71% of your dollars are for electric. That's because electricity is only 3.5 times more expensive than natural gas. Okay. So typically in an energy project, we look for electricity. A lot of people say we'll put in a more efficient boiler. It is more efficient, but it takes a long time to pay for itself. Okay? We good? I'm going quick. All right.
Keep going.
All right. Page 6, energy use intensity. This is where we're getting into the benchmarking and why we think we have a great project here. Energy use intensity is total energy use per square foot of building space. It doesn't matter if that energy use comes from propane, electricity, coal, fuel oil, you name it. It's converted to a common energy unit, of MNBTUs of energy. Do that by square foot. We compare you to other buildings nationally. So we'll look at your total, the middle yellow column, at the bottom, 84.6 kBTUs of energy per square foot is what you currently use countywide in buildings we look at. That's your magic number for this analysis, 84.6. We put that into a federal database, 5.6 million buildings nationwide, same geography, same construction type, same use, whether it's a maintenance garage, or whether it's a courthouse or a jail. We compare them, and then we go to the next page. And this is the data out of the database. So if we look at, let's say, public order and safety, if you're at 99.9 kBTUs of energy per square foot, you're in the 75th percentile. You're a big energy. You're using more than 75% of jails nationwide, given the same weather conditions, etc., same geography. If you're down to 54.6 of public safety building, then you're in the 25% most efficient buildings nationwide. Okay, so the point is, where do you guys stand in this? We look at the next page, and the orange is where you are as far as energy use per square foot, and the green is where we believe we can get you in energy use per square foot. So we look at the courthouse. Courthouse right now, you're at 123 kBTUs per square foot. We believe we can get you down to 89. And from that chart on the previous page, if you were in the 75th percentile for a courthouse, which meant you're some of the worst in the country, you're far ahead of that 69 kBTUs of energy per square foot. Okay, so we think we can get you down to 89. Again, high-level analysis at this point. Does that all make sense? Okay, so the total at the bottom there, countywide, 84.6 kBTUs of energy per square foot. And then the green, we believe we can get down to 61.3 kBTUs per square foot. Okay? All right. Then page 9 is the same information instead of a graph. It's numbers. If you look at the left side of the yellow column, you see quite a few are above the 75th percentile. So we're the worst in the country of energy hogs. We believe we can improve it down to the numbers on the right. Same information as on the previous page. Okay. Questions? Okay. Page 10, I won't spend a lot of time on this today. If you move farther along and you decide to do a project, you can get energy services companies that come in here and say, we can do a $20 million project. It's self-funded. It's going to be wonderful. That's typically not the case. You have to ask them, where you get that from. Because once you select them, it's kind of hard to go back. And then at the end of the project, they say, well, it's really only a $4 million project. That's what we found, right? But we can look at solar and wind and anything we want for these projects. Okay. Page 11 does the math of the project size. It's a calculation for the previous page. So we'll do the math. Baseline energy costs right now, you spend $630,000 on energy. We believe you can save 25 to 30% of that. Associated savings. We add that in there. That was a guesstimate by us. If we replace a system that you're spending money on now, say we replace a rooftop air conditioning unit, we're spending $5,000 to $10,000 a year on it. Now you're going to save with a brand new unit $5,000 a year. We multiply that out. Light bulbs and ballasts. If you go to all LED lights, you're not going to replace light bulbs and ballasts anymore. So we're $20,000 a year for that you're spending now, and multiply that out. So associated savings is something you have to learn more on what that number should be. Here, so we need to know what it would be. We use a project term of 20 years. Again, it's something we would like to learn more about. What works in the financials here. And that gets you the project size, $3.6 to $4.2 million for the 9 buildings that we work with. Okay. So what kind of work is in the project? We typically look if you have a 5-year plan, a 2-year plan, a 10-year plan. We look at work that's in there. It can be a big deal for future capital avoidance costs. I know that you have money budgeted to upgrade the control system to the DSS building. That could be wrapped into this if it was included in the scope of the project. Then you can use that $300 to be financed by the savings of the overall project. Then you can use that money elsewhere. Okay, so things like that we can look at. Interior lighting is always the easy stuff. Exterior lighting on page 13 and lighting controls, motion sensors, turning things off when they're not being used, DEC control system, building HVAC control system upgrades, typically energy savings there, even if you already have them. Typically they can be operated in a much more efficient manner. Building envelope, insulation, I often say where the wall meets the roof above the ceiling. Typically not built very well, not sealed very well. We won't seal that. It usually tries to get energy savings. Typically stuff that people don't spend their capital money on, but it does support a project like this. Pipe and valve insulation, duct leakage. If you have any questions about any of this, VFDs, fan and pump motors, you slow down that motor. It doesn't need to run at 100% all the time. Boiler controllers, even though you might have controls on your boilers now, you can typically run them more efficiently. If you own transformers on page 16, often find more efficient transformers. Vending machine, vending misers. If you're running lights all night and the compressors are cooling drinks all night, that can be shut down. Purified coking oxy. And then water conservation on page 17. And then anything else that you can think of. A lot of times people have an idea of something that they think is wasting energy and look at that as you move ahead. Okay? Going quick. Last page, page 18. First three bullets, bit of a summary. Eliminates financial risk. There's no change orders in these projects. Typically in a plan and spec job, people come in, they tell you everything was wrong in the drawings. We don't own that. We give you, we do own that. We give you a price, we tell you what we're going to do, what we build it. We don't changes later, it increases the cost. Reduces engineering procurement costs again because we're doing engineering in-house. We have the project managers in-house, we have construction workers in-house. Reduces a lot of that overlap. Construction management, engineers, and architects, and all the people involved in the typical construction project. And then access to capital, that third bullet. It's not money that's in your reserve. It's not money that you have in the bank somewhere. It's kind of new money. It's already in your operating budget. It just stops any utility company and the city pay for your upgrades using those savings. Down in the green and yellow, we're still up at the top here. Identify performance, financial, and operational goals. This is the first part of that, this benchmark analysis. Again, if this committee is interested, we meet the administration, and there's still interest there, and everybody's on board, we can come back and do a deeper level analysis, called a preliminary analysis. Again, our engineers and estimators and subcontractors go through your buildings and come back with real numbers plus or minus 15%, show you what a project would look like. From that, you have the ability to issue an RFP. Again, you can hire us through the Power Authority. We have contracts. Basically, you're going to go. You're going to do the job. Okay. When you send out the RFP, you still haven't made any commitments. You haven't spent any money. Pick somebody to do the project through the RFP response, and then you sign a letter of intent. The letter of intent says, please move forward with a detailed energy audit, investment grade audit. You guys did a ton of work. You have your engineers go through. You put all these numbers together. But it's not investment grade yet. It's not something to send it back. So at that point, sign that letter of intent that says we'll do a detailed energy audit. Do the real deal. Engineers, people crawl through every nook and cranny in the buildings. We come back with basically a contract. We work on it with you. We collaborate. It's kind of a give and take. What we paid for by the project. And that becomes a contract. We sign the contract, and then it goes to construction. Okay, that was really quick. What are the thoughts? Should we have a meeting with the administration at some point, or
Anyone here have any questions?
I got too many to even discuss.
I understand. I mean, I know we've discussed things like this, but when I say things like this, we've had people look at things that could change some lights here and there. You guys must take all that into consideration. Some of the stuff is already gone to a certain extent, but I know continuously changes. I do know that we are always looking at saving money down the road. When you say, I mean, the one thing you said a few times that just caught my attention was you said it's paid for by the savings that which we get. So when you tell me that, we don't pay you until we save money. I said, this is the guy here. It's like, okay, is this the finance plan? When we save that money next year, that's when we write your check. I was just curious how that.
You want to explain that better?
Sure. So, I mean, the concept of an energy performance contract is essentially identifying opportunities for savings within your operating budget, and that's what's going to pay for the project over time. So, whether it's through your reducing your energy bills, maintenance expenses, outside service costs, things of that nature, those are the areas that we look for savings. That savings will be guaranteed contractually by Danforth, or the escalator you select through an RFP process as part of the contract, and essentially used to pay for your financing payment, whether you finance the project through a bond or municipal lease, but effectively those savings are guaranteed, and that difference goes towards making your loan payment.
Personally, I like the fact of the way you said it. So many times we've had people call saying guaranteed us we were getting savings and things like that. We got deals of solar panels. It took us 2 years to get them to flip the switch. There's things like that. So when you say guaranteed, you stand behind it.
Exactly.
That definitely has. It's the general flavor of the committee here. It's something we would be interested in at least looking at. Oh.
Yeah. So we've done a number of energy projects over the years, and one thing that we've asked in the past is just the process where you're guaranteed. So is there an escalator, like you're saying, today's cost versus our savings over the years? Are you including anticipated increases in electrical or natural gas, or what's the process you use to stand behind the guarantee and come in and do the audit and then say to us, we can show you your energy bills and we told you were going to save this, but because there was an increase in price, in the delivery cost, or this, just can you roughly explain that?
Absolutely. It's a great question, right? So as part of the project, we did this initial utility bill analysis. We looked at 12 months worth of bills. As you go forward into that detailed energy audit, once you select somebody, you really want to look at 2 or 3 years worth of your bills, making sure we're not looking at an outlier year, effects of COVID, whether a building was partially occupied, or you're increasing ventilation rates, or anything abnormal that's really going to throw off that. We want a broad picture that's going to give you the most representative baseline for these buildings. That's the starting point. Then we're doing standard energy engineering calculations that will be reviewed by a third-party engineer. We'll hopefully stamp the plans, the specs associated with the project, and make sure that those calculations are up to speed. And so what we would guarantee in the project, really those units of savings, the kilowatt hours associated with reducing your lighting, going to LED lighting, your BTUs or of gas savings or propane, whatever your fuel usage is for other upgrades. So those units of energy savings is what we would guarantee in the project, and there's defined plans for how those would be measured. We can review with you and make sure that you're comfortable with what we're doing, the ways that we're going to prove those savings, and then we look at those utility rates. Again, those are going to be based on your historical usage. You can apply an escalator to those in future years to show historically energy rates increase 2 to 3% per year. But that's really just the financial projections over time. That can certainly be reviewed with you, but that guarantee is really based on those units of savings from those energy engineering calculations.
So number, when you say, well, we're going to guarantee X amount, or we think it's going to be this number, that's based on reducing usage, right? Whether it's kilowatts or BTUs or whatever, based on today's price going forward, or do you put escalators in there and say, like, 5 years, we're going to save you the same amount of BTUs, but we expect they're going to cost more at that time? Or
So our projection will be based on your current usage and your past, say your past 2 years, what that rate is. Now you can look for what it may be worth in future years. That's almost impossible to predict. So but our guarantee is going to be based on the dollars that we're going to show you based on today, what you're spending today.
Okay.
And we do in our long-term finance, which would be in the next report, financial cash flow. We do have escalators in there for inflation and utility costs and all those costs.
Right, just to try to show you an accurate picture of what would likely occur in future years. But again, today's dollars, when you calculate that simple payback, the cost of the project versus your savings is going to be based on your rates today.
So the contract would have like a pro forma in there that shows all that? Okay.
Exactly.
And we would work with you. We can estimate what those rates would be, inflation, what's that going to be, and the number would have to be agreed by you folks. We don't just put numbers in and tell you that's what it is. Does that answer the question?
Pretty much, yeah, thank you.
Would the ESCO be on the production side as well, because the county generates electricity? Or is it only as these 6 buildings?
Yeah, so that would all have to be factored in if we, so we would have to look at your solar array.
We have solar in addition to a garbage burning steam plant.
Right.
So it's 5 megawatts at the steam plant, then some solar arrays with rebates and things. Would it be the whole county, all 87 accounts, or just
That's still going to be up to you folks. I mean, the extent of the project, will you initially focus it on a subset of buildings, you look at the overall county, and it's probably where you get the best bang for your buck by being able to, identify the low-hanging fruit across the board. But we would want to review that in detail with you to make sure that those rates that we're using to project that cost savings are accurate based on your solar array.
And if we had a carve out for transportation gas for like a batch plant, could that exist under this arrangement?
Yes.
Because they're interruptible gas at the batch plant.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Good question.
Any more questions? Anyone have anything? I know there's a lot. Definitely seeing
Are
some.
you looking for some sort of a commitment from us right now? I don't think.
No, we're not.
That. I mean, it really lifted, but I think we haven't sit down and really discussed this amongst ourselves. I believe it to a great degree. And certainly, anytime you can save money on energy is something I want to do. There's other factors that takes place if we do some of these things. You seal the building, you give it the infiltration for the whole building, but you get it through those. But you need to put an air compression for ventilation purposes, so that you're getting outside air, you got exhaust the outside air, so there's another system that makes sense to go to the end. So there's a lot more to it than just looking at figures. I've done a lot of these projects.
I think you're trying to get the general flavor of something
That you have some interest in.
I believe absolutely there being a potential. There's much cost savings and a guarantee, so I guess I don't want to commit to something at this point, but decide, hey, start taking on whatever my hands are, see what I've heard, I guess I get everybody to agree with that.
If he wants to speak to somebody more definitively,
Absolutely.
speak to leadership at some point when everybody's updated, but me, if there's any time, like you said, there's savings, be interested in learning more.
Especially guaranteed savings.
Yeah, I'd be interested in reading the guaranteed contract, but to be honest with you, everybody says something guaranteed. When you buy a car, I'll tell you what, that guarantee isn't a guarantee, so I'd be interested in seeing the contract and all that stuff. But,
Pick me.
I think it's definitely something we're interested in looking at. We just have to get more detailed, as you say.
But all my contact information is on the
Oh, yeah.
or shoot it here. That's it.
Okay.
Did you have a question also?
No, well, to piggyback off what they're saying, there's a lot of things that we would have to look at, because we've done several improvements throughout the course of years. I mean, we've got AC units and boilers that aren't even 5 years old yet. So
Understood.
within the parameters of what you're looking to do, I mean, I don't think it would be cost effective to replace something that's not even 5 years old. So that's why we got to look at the whole picture.
I don't think it would hurt at least.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's value in
Oh,
there is value.
Absolutely.
Us moving forward to just take it this way with electric and gas, natural gas, and electric, especially electric. Any savings will help.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's enough interest. We should meet with these folks and talk more.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thank you. Anything else?
Anything, my information's on the front of that report.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else, Rick?
No,
Yeah,
that's,
just like that.
that's not bad.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
On the highway updates? Oh, boy, it's on the highway.
Since holiday week, we'll be back to grinding the pavement like we usually do, starting Monday. Yeah, quick. So we gotta have it start off Monday morning, so we're ready to go. So everything looks good so far.
Yeah, I know this week.
Holiday week, we have vacation, especially when the third's on a Monday.
Okay, thank you. On to solid waste.
You heard first, we're taking train 2 down on Friday for about 7 to 10 days for our normal maintenance shutdown cleaning. We talked about the apron. The earth in the landfill is currently sharing some staffing issues. We've had some turnover. Well, some promotions. So Joe, Jeremiah, and I are working through that. My real exciting news is on June 28th, we did have a landfill fire. It was a small one, 56 square feet. Dennis Palermo responded with a 4-wheel drive fire truck. Wally was there and Jane was there. We had it out in a couple hours. It was raining too, so that helped. Really don't know what caused it. The battery, we don't know. The next day, though, coincidentally, in a load, we did get a box full of batteries out of a construction dumpster. So Shane and I have talked, and will continue to talk. You need to look at some kind of an outreach program to try to get the public more informed of the dangers of tossing batteries in the garbage. So we're going to, I don't know where that's going yet. I'll get with Shane again and we'll discuss it. I got my new tanker trailer in that had been ordered for, I believe, 1.5 years. I've got my 2 new trash trailers in. I did pass along to Phil and Rich some DEC and state plans, potential reg changes that we're discussing. And I did a little field trip. We're going to, actually maybe I did put the cart before the horse here. I did speak with Phil. I asked Holly to put out on the street some bidding for a used landfill compactor because my current compactor is literally held together with JB Weld. The transmission casing is cracked. We have it patched, but we're one catastrophe away from being without a compactor. So I did go down 11 in PA, looked at a similar unit to what I want, sat in it. I took an operator with me, he drove it. So next meeting, depending on how this all shakes out, I'll be putting forth the full funding out of unappropriated funds to purchase that. That's it for me.
Pretty busy.
Yeah, it's been a busy month.
Okay, well, thank you for the updates. And out of the airport. Like at the airport.
We haven't had any fires.
Yes.
We're just moving forward with taxiway design. Taxiway Bravo and Delta, they're about 20 years old, each a little bit over 20 years old, so they've met their design life expectancy. So we're working on the design phase of rehabilitating those, and also the beacon is way off in the distance. It's up by Flood Road. It requires its own electrical service. It's extremely antiquated. It's time to replace that, so we're doing the design phase of that. That's going to be LED, much cheaper, much easier to maintain, easier to operate, cheaper to operate. So we're just moving forward with design phase on replacing some stuff right now.
All right. That's good. Thank you for the update. On to central services. Got to make this one quick, Frank. We got a meeting start.
We're, I'd say about 60% complete with the video camera project. I expect that to move along pretty quick here. So we've only done one of the 911 tower sites. So we're hoping to have 2 crews working on those, and that goes out in a couple of weeks. So that'll get us close to completion for sure. I'm still thinking it tomorrow has to be substantially complete. There's a few odds and ends on that. We have an order in for to replace our main virtual stack. Where we run virtualized servers. There's about 90 of the county servers, application servers that run on there. We have the order in for that. We're also replacing all of our battery backups, or the ones that are newer anyway, which includes the battery backup that's our main data center. For good power outage, time between power dropping and the generator kicking on, we need something to carry over the load so the servers don't all drop. We're going to get that in ahead of bringing the new virtual stack in, so we can just migrate our servers over from the stack to the new one, not have a service disruption. That's our plan.
Okay. Thank you for the update. I did realize, Paul brought to my attention that we did have another bid that was overlooked. And it is a bid, 23 HW008, washed 1A native stone. And everyone just handed the bid. And what it is, the low bidder was delivered was Lindsay Aggregate. The low bidder for pickup was Lindsay Aggregate, which was what they were actually looking for. I don't even know why it was put out to bid. What it is something that they're doing a little trial with. It's one of the things that Sean and Kelly and the guys were there trying to help reduce some of the costs of producing the blacktop, and it may be a cheaper alternative for some of the towns or some parking lots, different things like that, because it is a different stone. But it's a less expensive option. We're not committing to any amount. What this does is enables us to go there and buy it and try it. Hopefully try to reduce the cost of blacktop. And so we are looking to award that bid. The low bidder is ticket. And that will be to Lindsay Aggregates.
My name?
Award that bid. First by Legislator Holt, second by Legislator Twist. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. That carries. And I believe that concludes the meeting. And the appropriate motion to adjourn. So moved. First by Legislator Yerman, second by Legislator Locke. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.